like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength, now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules, my life destroyed, a life destroyed. Until I walk awake, scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? Can I take? Can I be your superhero? Fly up away. It's the first time of today. Today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. You're a superhero.
Hey, welcome everyone to SC2AI ladder stream. I am here with Chippy Dip, author of Perfect Split. Thanks very much for
Hello.
joining us. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well.
Awesome. Surviving your isolation.
Yes.
It's great for us. It's what we do every day anyway, so it's pretty fun.
Yep.
So, but yeah, hope everyone out there is also doing as well as we are in isolation. No one's got sick, which should be hopefully everyone will be fit and well and developing more bots. So yeah, thanks very much for coming to join us. Before we start, let's take a brief look at the standings for this week. So Micro Machine again at number one. Sharpened Edge takes the number two spot this week away from Three-Way Lover. Some interesting improvements there. I think Strelok's doing quite well. You seem to have had quite a bad week this week from
Yeah, I think the other bots are starting to figure out some of the weaknesses of Perfect Split and exploit those.
yeah. So have you had a lot of time to update recently, or are you?
I haven't. I've been kind of slammed with work stuff, but hopefully I'll have some time before the end of the season to sneak some new tricks in there.
Yeah. Well, you are already qualified. I think was it week two or week three? One of those anyway.
Yeah.
You got yourself a ticket to the tournament. So, you know, that's all secured there and ready and waiting for you. You only have to play now for potential seedings into the tournament. So it should be good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you're one of the only, well, actually, I think you're the only author at the moment that's using Go as a programming language. How did that
Yep.
come about, and why Go?
Um, so I started using the C++ library a little bit and just didn't really want to do a bot in C++. I program in C++
Yeah,
for my day job, um, but wanted something a little less fragile to, that can catch some more errors and keep
yeah,
me from doing dumb stuff. And so I do a lot of stuff in Go as well. So I figured I would see if I could get a bot working.
yeah,
Um, so I found somebody else who had been starting working on an API for Go and sort of took that and forked it and ended up building up the API and
yeah,
doing the bot stuff as well. So
yeah. Because you've actually created or maintained the API as well. So
yep.
not only do you actually write the bot, you maintain the API. So double the job, double the work.
Yes.
As many
But
other
it's
people.
really nice to be able it's really nice to be able to just go in and like fix stuff in the API easily,
Yeah,
update when the game updates and enums change and stuff like that, to not
yeah,
have to worry about waiting on somebody else for that.
yeah. So there's many other people using the API at the moment.
Um Not that I know of.
Okay.
There were some people previously, but I haven't heard anybody at
Yeah,
least asking questions about it
yeah.
recently. So
So there you go, guys. Perfect API to get started on. Just talking about getting started. Shall we load up a game and have a look?
yeah.
Um, so I was going to start off with against additional pylons, which is
Okay.
6977. I think you should have that.
Yep.
Cool. Give me a shout when you've loaded that up and we'll start. But yeah, so again, I've chosen a few games from this week, so I understand it's not your best week, but let's go with it anyway. It's pretty good. Um, turn that on. Give me a shout when you're ready to go. But yeah,
It's loading up now.
I've been quite impressed. I did look at the Go API originally. I've been quite impressed with how that's developed, so it's pretty good. Anyway, should we start in 3, 2, 1, go? Okay, so you're up at the top left here, and up against additional pylons. So yeah, additional pylons was one of the bots you faced in the season 7 tournament, but you didn't actually take part in season 8 at all. Was it just you were too busy
I
for
did
that?
not. I was just busy. Yeah.
Okay, because you got to the final, as a new bot, pretty much the way GencyBot did. He just came out of nowhere and suddenly you smashed the competition and got to the final, and we didn't see you again for a whole season. So,
Yeah.
but that's cool. So, I guess you must have been pretty disappointed with the final at that point.
No, not really. I mean,
Yeah. Because we all thought you were going to win. We all thought, we all had, if we were betting people, we would have put money on you for that final, but lucky we didn't. I'm sorry. But no, you've done extremely well.
I was honestly surprised that I did as well as I did, based off of the testing that I did on my own before the tournament. I think there was a lot of other good bots in there that definitely stood a chance.
Yeah. No, but you've done really well and had some pretty epic games in that one. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I noticed going hatch first, so no initial Zergling rush then for you.
Yeah, I just use a standard hatch gas pool build.
Yeah. So what's kind of like the initial idea? Is just kind of like build up the army first, or?
So PerfectSplit was designed really as a macro econ focus bot. So when I first implemented it, it actually all it could do was build drones and overlords and expand. That was sort of V1 of the bot. It didn't build any army at all, and then I sort of took that as the base and just tried to dial it back enough to survive and max out. So the basic strategy is it tries to build up to 3 base saturation and only really builds army if it feels like it's being threatened. And then once it gets to sort of 3 base saturation, it'll just build all army from there on out.
Okay. So do you kind of keep it there if you get attacked and go down, or is it just at that point you just build straight army there?
I try to maintain a certain drone count, so I think it's something like 68 drones is what it shoots for.
It's a pretty good number, but I know a lot of people like to go up to a bit more, but that's perfect. It's something that a lot of human players miss, is just you drone up so fast. Once you've if you've got it on a script there, you can get to that level really damn quickly. But so I noticed you got do you send out scouts to see what the opponent's doing at all? Or?
So the only real scouting that I do is this one overlord here that goes to the natural and then sort of sits on high ground near the natural.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I'm looking for there, is does the enemy expand or not? So right now I've only built 4 Zerglings. And PerfectSplit will build 4 Zerglings no matter what. But if it doesn't see an expansion, then it'll build some more Zerglings to defend. It assumes there's some sort of all-in one base kind of thing that it needs to defend against. And it also, if it sees enemy units, then it tries to build an equivalent mineral and gas value worth of army.
Okay.
And then go back to droning.
Yeah, so it's just this one overlord here. You don't kind of put things up during the middle.
That's really the only.
Okay.
So that's definitely something that I want to improve on, is better scouting.
Yeah.
Send the other overlords other places and check for proxies and all that good stuff, because it doesn't really do that now.
No. And I'm not sure what you mean about checking for proxies. Who would do something like that to you, right?
I have no idea.
Exactly. Nobody around here, of course. We were talking beforehand. I just I I'm quite embarrassed that that's the only build I've got in my bot at the moment. I keep meaning to put more in. Like every week or so, next week I'm going to have like more builds in. It's just like, gets to Wednesday, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, I haven't done anything. But yeah, it gets a bit like that. So have you updated a lot this season? Is it very different bots?
No, the only thing I've really changed is just fixing some bugs, mostly like map dependent stuff.
Yeah.
One of the big things was the mineral walls on some of the maps were being detected incorrectly when it's doing its base detection. So the base is in weird spots.
Yeah.
The other problematic thing was the expansions that have rich Vespian geysers. There was a good bug in there where it wasn't counting the gas built on the rich Vespian geyser because that's a different build,
Yeah.
different building ID, and so it was trying to saturate all its gases and wasn't. The counts weren't lining up, so it just freaked out and stopped doing everything.
Yeah, because I think they changed the build IDs in 4.11, didn't they, for that? So
Yeah.
yeah,
And also, my bot just wasn't even considering that case,
yeah. So it looks
even with
like,
the old IDs.
yeah, it looks like additional pylons is pushing across the map quite well.
Yep.
So it's kind of like all
And-
hands to the pump at the moment, I guess, and just
Yeah. So Zerglings into Colossus generally doesn't work too well.
no.
But Queens are pretty strong against a lot of things.
Yeah. Especially these phoenixes over here.
Yeah.
But you've got the Colossus down. Is that something you specifically target, or what's?
So the targeting logic is the ground forces tend to prioritize things that can shoot up, because this is ultimately a muta-based build. And so if the queens and the zerglings can kill things that shoot up, then the mutas can basically auto win.
Yeah.
But beyond that, that's really the only sort of targeting priority.
Ah, okay. So just kill anything that kills mutas and let the mutas do the rest.
Yep.
Yeah, that works pretty well. So I noticed just gathering over here by the fourth. Is it just kind of like, where do you kind of like gather your forces? Is it just...
So it updates the rally point every time it expands, to sort of try and help protect the newest expansion as it's getting up and running.
Yeah.
So it basically just takes that expansion point and bumps it a little bit towards the enemy and says, this is our rally point. And it'll just sit here until it maxes out, which it's almost doing here, and then should move out across the map.
Ah, cool. Yeah, one thing like about PerfectSplit, I think we'll see it in a minute, is like how you attack with the mutas. They seem to just be everywhere at once. In fact, like your whole army seems to be everywhere at once. Whereas a lot of bots would just kind of like grab the whole army and attack at a certain place. I think we've just seen you max out. Looks like they're in trouble over here.
Yeah, so all of the units are sort of individually controlled, and they individually select targets. It's not, there's no like coordinated attack. Coordination only happens if, because the units happen to be in the same locations.
Yeah.
Here the mutas are just sort of randomly chasing a phoenix off to the side, and
it seems like
zerglings are off in the center attacking the colossus.
Yeah.
So it's, not necessarily optimal, but it tends to work pretty well.
Yeah, it's something that I think works for you is kind of like you just attack in multiple places, which is one of the weaknesses of a lot of the bots, is that they'll still control their entire army as a single group, or at least within certain group numbers. And this bot definitely exploits that logic.
And the mutas in general tend to spread out because of how their individual micro is coded.
Yeah.
So they try to always stay in motion because they have kind of a slow acceleration time, but they can like turn instantly.
Yeah.
So that's why they do this sort of bouncing in and out movement. But they also sort of try to stay away from each other a little bit, so that they don't clump up and get killed by a single storm or something like that.
Yeah. God,
Because that's something that's traditionally like a weakness for human-controlled mutas, but when you can micro each one individually, you can keep them all spread out and not have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of like what we're seeing now with this is truly scary. It's like, could you imagine as a human player, it would just be like you just throw your hands up and go, well, screw this, you can't do anything. But bots don't do that, and yeah, I think you've got this one now. But it's something that I think is kind of like very much a feature of what PerfectSplit does, and it's kind of like just this muta play is pretty fantastic.
So I'm just looking at APM right now and spiking up. Just hit 100K
Yeah.
for a second there.
100K limit. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually had to add code in the bot to like monitor how many actions were actually getting processed versus how many I was issuing.
Yeah.
And like skip a frame if the game wasn't able to keep up. So it kind of actually dynamically figures out what that peak number of actions that the game can manage.
I think it's around 100,000 generally, but
yeah, well, it seemed like when I was looking into it that it was actually different on different computers. So it kind of scaled with how strong the computer was as well. So yeah.
I mean, I wonder why that is though, because like all the moves are taken in the steps, so it seems logical that you just accept the same number of moves but slow the step down. I don't know. I mean, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, how many things in Starcraft 2 are logical? But yeah, it does seem a bit strange, so it might be worth looking into at some point. But yeah, so nice little win there from Additional Pylons. Another bot that was very good kind of last season and the season before. Hasn't been updated, I don't think, this time. So hopefully we'll see some updates at some point there. What next? Should we take a look at the match against Spinny? What? No, Spiny. Sorry. I keep making that mistake. It's Spiny. Oh, okay. So that's not 69779. I think that's the one you've got. Right. Give me a shout when you're ready to go. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully. So we're on week 6 now, so there's another 5 more weeks to go before of this, everyone. So should be good, and then we can all update our special versions for the tournament and lose to my bot. You good to go?
Yep.
Right. Okay, going in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so up in the top left is Spiny, and your bot's down in the bottom right. And Spiny is one of our more our better-natured bots for the GLA HF. Have you had a chance to look over a lot of the other bots at all? Have you had,
a little bit.
Yeah. So what do you make of kind of like Spiny? I mean, he's one of the new bots you hadn't seen from the previous season as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be doing pretty well. It's always nice to see new bots up towards the top side of the ladder.
Yeah. No, he's definitely improving a lot, and certainly like improved a lot since the tournament as well. I've seen a lot of good things, so hopefully we'll get him on stream.
Yeah, it's also really nice to see more Zerg bots on there.
Yeah. So why did you sort of like build a Zerg bot? What was the thinking behind the race?
I think a lot of it came down initially to just being easier to get started, that there's less like building placement SimCity kind of stuff to have to worry about. And so I like that. And I also like the fact that sort of the unique trade-off that Zerg have between building economy and building units, that was sort of a more interesting AI problem to have to balance that in addition to all the other things.
Yeah, it's certainly working out for you. So have you kind of like tried or played with the idea of adding any kind of learning in there at all, or?
Yeah, I would like to, once I get some better scouting in, add some sort of machine learning or something like that to figure out what to do with the scouting information.
Yeah. It's something that I've noticed with a lot of bots is like they'll send scouts out, but they won't really react to what they're seeing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, so having that in there is a definite advantage. It's something that I am working on at the moment as well, but it's a hard problem. Because you kind of either have to put some generalized rules in for everything, or you have to hard code quite a lot of different kind of tactics in there. So
Yep. Yeah, so I've tried to like just sort of skip scouting until I have a specific reason that I want to scout something.
yeah,
So I'm not, unless it's going to change the bot's behavior, I don't bother with the scouting.
yeah. Well, that's the thing really. It's like that's what you need to kind of like guard against. Is like how do you react to that? But yeah, so because I've been impressed with Harvester using like a lot of the machine learning tricks in there, and that actually does react to quite a lot of that. Because I think we had Infi on a couple of weeks back talking about that. If anyone wants to look that up on YouTube. But also, I'm guessing with Go, it's a bit more difficult than with something like Python because the tools aren't really there as easy.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into it, so I'm not sure. I would imagine there are tools, but I don't know. They're certainly not as good as the Python ecosystem for that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully we can have a look into that and maybe get another Learn bot, which would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the things I think that we will get a lot more learning bots, and I think the problem that we have is even with the learning bots that we do have, a lot of it is kind of like if you're going to do proper learning, it takes such a lot of processing power and games and also data that is just running it on a ladder like that is very difficult. But yeah, looks like your poor little scouting overlord is getting wiped out. Or
so sad.
Yeah.
That's okay. He did his job.
Yeah, you saw that. And I'm guessing Zerg is probably going to expand straight away anyway, so it's... but we do see Spiny coming across with a couple of roaches, feelings. You should have enough to deal with this.
Of course. And of course the queens were running away off creep at the time.
Yeah. Slowest units in the game. Oh. Quite a nice little start there. Picked up a couple of roaches. But yeah, Spiny's pretty...
Yeah, it was kind of convenient that Spiny kind of retreated there. I think it would have been a much closer fight if the Zerglings hadn't run away.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been dangerous. But yeah, so Spiny looks like he's taking the fourth over here. And then... But yeah, it looks like you're just playing off a bit of a standoff at the moment.
See, it's interesting taking the fourth, but like none of the other bases actually are saturated yet.
Yeah. So is that how you choose when to expand as well? Is it just kind of like as soon as you saturate one, you grab another? What is that?
Yeah, more or less.
Oh, cool.
The initial build is sort of dependent on a couple of other things. But once it sort of builds up and gets 3 bases, then after that it's based off of really if it has a certain drone count that it wants on minerals, and if there's fewer mineral patches than that, it expands.
Yeah. Ooh, nice little fight here. Looks like your Zerglings are taking it just about. Ooh. But I do love Spiny.
Those roaches are microing pretty well.
Yeah, the micro of Spiny there is pretty good, but the Zerglings unfortunately didn't quite make it.
So now there's no wall of Zerglings to protect them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it's going to have problems there. But it's still microing pretty well.
Yeah.
I worry for it once you get the Mutas out, though. That's gonna be when he has the problems. Talking of which,
PerfectSplit also has a good lead on income right now, so replacing those Zerglings is a lot easier.
Yeah. But I still like the roach count here. I think that's pretty good. As I say that, as all the roaches are now getting completely destroyed. Poor things. But yeah, you've got like a 25 worker lead there, which is it's quite impressive.
Oh.
And I love the way the queens are transfusing here. It's something else that bots are very good at.
Mm-hmm.
It'll never run out of that transfuse energy while those roaches are there.
I wish they would have just finished off those 2 that were almost dead, though.
Yeah. Oh, and here come the Zerglings.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So pushing it back rather well, which is good.
Yeah, you'll notice they get to about the halfway point on the map and then run back home.
Yeah.
Because until I max out, it's just sort of in defensive mode.
Yeah.
And stay off my side of the map.
Yeah. So is that kind of like if you don't reach that 200 supply cap and you get kind of like harassed, you just won't move out at all?
Yeah, it'll go and try and deal with the push, and then just go back to waiting until it supply caps.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So it takes a while. It takes significantly less than it takes for me to max out, but yeah.
Yeah. So one more round of production here should.
Yeah. There you go.
Goes.
So coming out with all the mutas. And I don't think Spiny actually has anything that does shoot up. Oh no, he's got a couple of Hydras on the map, so that's not too bad.
A couple of queens as well.
Yeah.
And some spores, but.
Yeah, it's going to find it tough to deal with this. Ooh. But yeah, and again, your bot living up to its name with the with the muta splits. There's the fight on winning the fight.
So,
on the front.
Yeah, so actually, a lot of people have assumed that the name was from, like unit splits or Zergling splits and the face of Banelings or stuff like that. But actually, I picked the name. I used to play back in the Brood War days.
Yeah.
And so it's actually in reference to a perfect worker split.
Oh,
back
okay.
in those days.
Yeah.
Because one of the other micro things that it does is at the beginning of the game, it individually assigns mineral patches on the first frame to all of the starting workers. And throughout the game, make sure that workers are always paired up on mineral patches and stuff.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Sweet optimal mining.
Yeah, that probably gets you a little bit. I'm not sure how much exactly, but it's definitely worth doing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a minor amount, but I figure I can program it once and not have to worry about it, so might as well.
Every little bit helps. So let's have a look at your APM. Up to 87,000 I saw it spike out at just then, so not doing too badly on that. But yeah, I think now we'll just fast forward this because it's pretty much dead. But it's an interesting game, and like I think you were quite good at holding the initial push there from Spiny, and finally managed to showdown on his remains, so to speak.
Yeah. But Spiney's a really good bot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, he's one of my favorite of the new bots. Certainly. So we see the. Is it going to come over here? Wait, let's have a look. I don't think it actually sees the other base yet, so no.
Yeah, so the end of game scouting is a little janky.
Yeah,
It'll basically just sit here until either the creep spread finds the other base or there's a certain time base trigger
yeah,
where it'll start looking around the map.
yeah. That's something that's actually pretty hard to do because you don't know where everything's going. But
Yeah.
yeah, it seems to work. So yeah, like, did you kind of like play around with sort of like making bots for Brood War as well? Is that where you come from, or is that?
No, I didn't do any bots back then. It was just playing with my own two hands.
Ah, the boring way.
Exactly.
Do you play much at all? Or
I don't play much StarCraft 2. I played a little when it first came out, but just never really got back into it the same way
no?
until I discovered the ability to write bots for it. So
Yeah, writing bots is far better than playing.
yeah,
Okay, so should we take a look at Octopus?
sure.
Sorry, it's 693376. Just give me a shout when you loaded that up. But yeah, so with your split mechanics, like, how long did that take you to actually program in? Was that something you done sort of like very fast early on, or is it?
That was definitely something I did early on. Like I said, it started out just knowing how to do econ and expand stuff, and then only later
Yeah,
added on the ability to actually build units and attack.
that's cool.
So initially I was just seeing like, what can I do to like maximize mineral income and maximize how fast I can expand and things like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. Start from the basics and
All right, ready
build
to
this
go.
one. Cool. Going in 3, 2. Actually, no, I have to put the game capture on. Sorry, almost missed that. Right, so going in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, as we see the perfect mineral line split there. It's pretty cool, showing that for everyone.
Yep.
So Octopus doesn't like you very much, I think. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but like, it starts with fuck, so. Oh, unless that's your ID, I don't know, it might be.
Maybe.
But yeah, Octopus is another new bot. I don't know if you've taken a look at his tactics at all.
Not really until I watched this game earlier.
Okay. But yeah, it's certainly doing well.
Yeah, it had a very good unit composition.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that surprises a lot of people. It has some weaknesses, which I think is holding it back. But I think it's definitely got the makings of a very good bot there. So, I mean, we haven't got a game against Micro Machine on the stream tonight, but have you got any plans for beating Micro Machine?
I don't know. Still trying to come up with something good there.
Yeah,
Not Micro Machine has very few weaknesses, I think. So
yeah. It's one of those things of kind of like trying to think of the best way around it, and immediately you think of that, it just gets blown up.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I think you have problems with a few of the other bots as well. Three-Way Lover, I'd imagine, is quite good against yours at the moment. So
Yep. Kagamine as well. I actually haven't beaten so far this season.
yeah. So are those the bots you have the most problems with?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Sharp and Edge you do quite well against sometimes, but other times fail against.
Yeah, I think Sharpened Edge has made some improvements recently, which may be part of why I didn't do so well this week.
Yeah.
Definitely have a low win rate against him.
Yeah, it's a very well made bot, and also the Sharpie framework is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So interestingly
You can
enough,
also see here, I haven't quite figured out the mineral wall mechanics and have
yeah,
drones deciding that those mineral patches are part of this base and should be mined out.
I mean, it is good for removing the wall across here, but I'm not sure that's exactly what you want at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of upgrades, I managed to get the ling speed quite early. Do you get like a lot of the other upgrades as well?
Yeah, I try to. I think once the third base goes up, I'll get double Evo chambers and start working on both upgrades for the lings.
Yeah. And for the muters, do you go for the
And
upgrades for it?
yeah, for the mutas, I just prioritize air attack mostly.
Okay.
And it will eventually get carapace upgrades, but only if the game goes really long.
Yeah, and by
So
that time,
generally, not so much.
yeah, I think you normally try and finish people about like the 15-minute mark. I think I've seen the timings of your games.
Yeah.
Comment in chat from Raf saying Micro Machines' weaknesses are also disappearing progressively. Yes, we know. I think we need to ban Micro Machine updates for the rest of the season. Everyone else can update, but you can't. No, I wouldn't do that. Maintaining competitive integrity, as they say. But yeah, it's certainly a target there to meet. Nothing's perfect, so everything has weaknesses, even if they are disappearing. And obviously, putting spores in the middle of all your mineral lines here, just to be safe.
Yep. Yeah, that's sort of a timing thing. Just at the 4.5 minute mark or so, it just throws up a spore in each mineral line.
Yeah.
Mostly just because DTs and cloak banshees are a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So do you make any sort of like adjustments for each race, or is it just kind of like the same strategy?
Same strategy for all races.
Okay. So nothing special for the cloak banshees then.
Nope.
No. Cool. But yes.
And then I try to keep one overseer with the main army, and that's
yeah.
I do that for all races, and that's my detection.
Yeah, that definitely helps against the DTs. So I think Octopus is going with very kind of like Immortal Stalker kind of army composition. I think.
Yeah, yeah. So the Immortal Stalker would not be too bad against all the Zerglings, but add in those Colossi and yeah. Bad news.
Bad news bears, guys. But but I notice you still have like quite a significant worker lead there as well, and it's amazing you get to the 6-minute mark and you've got 68 workers. That's a very nice amount to have.
Yeah.
I don't know when Octopus likes to push out, but definitely Colossus against Zergling only goes one way.
Yep.
Unless the Zerglings get all the way around there, in which case they go down very quickly. That's one thing I have problems with is like a human player playing Colossus is just like microing it in a way where it doesn't just expose itself completely.
Yeah. So here comes the move out.
Yeah. So in terms of army, you're just slightly behind at the moment, but
yeah.
So, but Mutas are kind of on the way. You're just getting the spire up now.
Yeah, they're just coming, and they're definitely not going to help here.
Here we go.
And
Ooh.
Zerglings in the choke point.
Yeah, those Colossus are doing some serious work. Oh god.
Not so good.
Yeah, but the Queens are still getting onto those Colossus, so that's not game ending just yet, I don't think. But
Yeah, so the queens are doing well,
yeah,
and I still have almost double the mineral income.
yeah,
So I'm able to keep flooding lings in, but they're
Yeah.
not trading very effectively at all.
no. And you got in the choke point there,
Also-
so the Queens in the choke point are doing quite well.
Yeah, I also, I don't know if you saw, some drones just came over and decided to mine out some
Oh,
of those
yeah.
minerals in
There
the
they
middle of
go.
it all.
Don't mind us, boys. We're just over here to take the minerals. Just ignore us, okay? Yeah, it's nice if you can get a few more queens over here. We might just stand a chance.
Yeah.
But-
So now all the colossi have been taken down, but
Yeah, I think you're getting a few mutas out, but it's not really going to help you against the
unfortunately,
stalkers.
a few mutas against that many stalkers doesn't work.
Yeah,
And would have been better to just keep building lings here, I think.
yeah. So some really good use of the force field there by Octopus as well, which is really good. It looks like you might be able to take down that immortal, maybe. No. So I think your problem was you got past the
Not
choke
quite.
point there, and you ended up in the choke point
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, PerfectSplit has no concept of like tactical map layouts or anything
Yeah.
like that, which is another thing I like to work on.
Yeah, it's something that I think not
It's a
many
hard
bots-
problem, though.
Yeah, definitely. Not many bots have actually perfected that very well or use it. So I think he's just about breaking through here. That's this choke
Yeah,
point.
my
is,
supply count is just sort of slowly dwindling down.
Yeah.
I'm
this-
still mining a lot more, but the units lost is just going crazy.
I tell you what, they're going to make mountains of this battle, like, out this point here. This has been it's like the Battle of the Somme, and like, yeah, just got to hold the line,
Yeah.
boys, hold the line. But just
And
about
now there's
coming
some colossi back in there, so
Yeah, it's going to become progressively harder for you from here.
any zerglings that come in are just going to get roasted before they can even get to stalkers or immortals.
So let's have a look. You've lost 292 zerglings. Just a few. Roast zergling for lunch tonight.
Yep.
It's only zergling against Hellion that produces the roast zergling. So you've got lasered zergling. But yeah, it looks like just taken down. You still have a bunch of army left. I don't know where that's coming from.
I think that's just stuff that's in production and just flooding in.
Yeah, right now it's kind of flooding in just one by one. So
Yep.
that's not really not really good. But yeah, I think from
Yeah.
here,
It might have been better to, like, you know, give up that fourth base and pull back and build a little bit more and
yeah.
attack as a unit. But
So is there any way that your bot would kind of build sort of like anything else, like possibly corruptors or anything? Is that
it
programmed in
will
there?
build. The only other thing that it'll build is corruptors, if it sees enough air units.
Yeah.
But it doesn't consider colossi as a trigger to build corruptors. Maybe it should. But
Is it-
definitely if it sees like Vikings or battle cruisers or Tempest or carriers or anything like that, it'll build a bunch of corruptors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst thing you can see as a Protoss when you've got a bunch of carriers. Is here come the corruptors. Oh. I know that feeling well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it now. So
That's
I'll
pretty
fast
much
forward
GG
and,
there.
and yeah, so Octopus is doing really well. It's a very fun new bot.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully we'll see a little more of it. And Hopefully, I think it will be in the tournament, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
For some reason, Octopus doesn't just go right up the ramp here and end it, though.
yeah. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe I'll get him on stream some point and he can tell us. Should be good. But yeah, so GG. That was a very fun game, and that battle at the choke
Yeah.
point in the middle, it's like it just reminds you of one of those First World War battles where everyone's just marching at each other, killing each other, and like they'll have
Yep.
like monuments there in like 100 years time of like here's where 350 Zerglings died in a brave assault on the Protoss race. But yeah, so that's good. So I think we've got one more that we wanted to go through. I think it's a game against Rusty. Now, I'm just loading that up. I think that's 69432, which is the one you've got left. But yeah, I've noticed that your bot particularly has a weakness against Terran bots. Is that anything specific to you? Or?
I don't know. I think Terran is just OP in general.
Yeah.
But
certainly for bots.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason Micro Machine is top.
Yep. Only that.
Yeah.
It's all because of Terran OP.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. But,
I'm ready to go whenever you are.
all right. Going in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So you're down here in the bottom right. But yeah, again, we see the perfect mineral lines. That's good. The GLHF, that's the one. Sorry. Can't even speak right now.
Yep.
Both of you, yeah. So I noticed you got the client version in there as well. Is that just to tell you which version's up?
That's just a check on the version that the bot was like built against versus the version it's running against.
Yeah.
So the thumbs up means it was a match.
Ah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that because obviously AI Arena and ProBots is still running on 410. Is that something you have had a lot of problems with?
No, I just decided I was just making some changes in that part of the code and figured, hey, why not add this check in here?
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you see the SCV coming across there. Is it something you pull drones for at this point, or?
Not for a single scout unless it starts attacking.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of bots will start attacking with the scout as well, so that's quite good.
I've actually had a lot of problems with PerfectSplit in the past where it pulled drones in cases where it would have been much better continuing to mine. So I've tried to dial that back as much as possible.
Cool.
While still, defending against an all-in rush kind of thing.
Yeah. So while developing PerfectSplit, have you had any really fun bugs? Or
let's see. Definitely been some interesting ones. I think you actually commented on one a couple weeks ago where there was a drone that was going to build an expansion and then stopped and kind of kept going back and forth.
Yeah, it was just dancing around and like couldn't quite find out where to build it.
Yeah. So I think actually what was probably going on there was the bot assigns drones to the nearest hatchery. And I think it was a case where it picked a drone that was closest to the build location that then walked by another hatchery and got reassigned to that hatchery. And so it like pulled it off of its build order and then immediately realized, oh, we should be building again. Oh, we should reassign this this drone. Oh, and like silly stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting one to watch.
Yeah.
Because I think that
There's-
meant you didn't quite get up to the unit cap, and obviously didn't quite make it
Yep.
to your attack.
Yeah, there's also been a lot of other similar bugs where the build order logic in Perfect Split is like every frame it goes through like from top to bottom of this, like check if we have this many of this unit, check if we have this many of this unit, if not build it kind of thing. So it's not really keeping track of where it is in the build order. It runs through every frame over and over.
Yeah.
So that has the benefit of like it's more resilient to things that happen and it'll kind of recover more. But sometimes it can get into cases where it's like waiting on a conditional that will never be true. And so it doesn't know how to like skip over that and go on. And so sometimes it'll end up just sitting there with like, you know, mining up 10,000 minerals and not actually building anything with them.
Yeah, I think I've seen that happen a couple of times. But yeah, it's something that, because I know a lot of the bots will just rely on a set, like build this, then build this, then build this, which also has the
Yep.
problem that if your gateway gets destroyed and your next thing is to build a cyber core, then you're never going to get to that point.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's definitely like advantages and disadvantages of each different way. But I think like the idea of just figuring out exactly what you need next is probably a lot more resilient.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. So in this case, it's building a little more defense because the Overlord here scouted this blob of Marines in the tank out front.
Yeah.
That's one of the cases where the scouting is actually paying off, kind of.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you definitely see lots of Marines there. So in this case, do you just kind of like build up a bunch more Zerglings and then?
Yeah, it tries to match, like it counts like what the build cost was of the units that it's able to see and tries to spend about that much on its own army.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of a rough heuristic of, you know, I want to build army, but not too much army.
Okay. I guess that kind of like slows down your expansion just slightly as well.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
The goal is to try and build only enough to survive and spend the rest on economy. So trying to walk that line has been interesting.
Yeah. So here you kind of like don't get the gases until quite late on these expansions.
Yeah, it focuses minerals first. It builds the one gas early to get ling speed, and then once it has 100 gas, it pulls drones off of that. And then basically focuses entirely on minerals until it has 3 base mineral saturation, and then goes back to gas.
Yeah.
And starts teching up.
That's good. So this is the point where you build like infestation pits, but coming up as well. So
Yep.
That's good. But yeah, that's good. So with your bot, is your bot open sourced or is it at the moment?
It is not currently. Not really because I'm trying to hide any secrets in there, just because the code is an awful mess.
Yeah. But the API that you've written is open sourced, yes.
Yes, the API is open source, and anything that I feel is like kind of generally useful, I've been trying to put into some of the helper libraries there. So there's stuff in there for like doing the base detection and doing the like height map decoding and stuff that I use for overlord placement. So some of that stuff goes into the base library.
Yeah. But that's pretty cool anyway. So I think, yeah, it's good to have that kind of libraries out there and working. Have you found anyone else collaborating with you on that, or is it just purely your own work at the moment?
Mostly my own work.
Okay.
If anybody's interested, I'm happy to collaborate or take feature requests or anything. But
yeah, so we'll dump a link in the chat or something to it. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Hold on. So yeah,
The library's there if anybody wants to check it out.
yep. Everyone, go check that out. Make PerfectSplit even better and make your own bot. It's awesome. So yeah, Rusty is getting a lot of tanks here, which might be fun against. Definitely good against the Zerglings. Not quite as good against the Mutas though. So yeah, is that something you struggle a lot against? Because a lot of the Terrans on ladder are quite mech focused as well. Apart from Gency bot, of course.
So I think the biggest thing that works really well against Perfect Split is good timing pushes.
Yeah.
It's like if you just sort of sit back, Perfect Split's going to max before you.
Yeah.
And like, unless you have the perfect unit composition, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah. And it's almost
It's a lot
here.
better.
Wow.
Yeah. So all the Zerglings are dead.
Yeah.
But that just opens up more supply for mutas.
Yeah, so your push didn't quite work very well there.
Yeah.
But
But I'm still like looking at the supply count, it's 150 to 100 or so.
yeah, and that's what's impressive. It's like, if you're looking at that, you pretty much lost the fight hands down, but you still have a better army supply and more workers there. So
Yeah. And that's where the income comes in.
yeah, I think Rusty's going to try and push out here.
Yeah, by the time he pushes out and gets across the map, I'm almost remaxed again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. But yeah. See, it's something that, like, I think mutas do already well, is these kind of like set pushes that people have where, you know, they'll try and hold a position and slowly push forward, like with the Marines and tanks. The mutas there can work very well. As we see more tanks. So yeah, you came back from the first fight and just utterly, pretty much destroyed him there as well. So that's good. Wow. So after you've sort of like lost a fight or whatever, is it just a case of like going back and waiting again until you hit the supply cap? Are you there? Sorry. I don't think we've got sound on you at the moment. Chippy, you... I think we've lost Chippy Dip at the moment, so I'll get to the end of this game. And I can see like mutas are absolutely destroying this, so sorry guys, we'll get Chippy back on as soon as possible. I'm just trying to get him back. I will pause this game for a second. Actually, I think you'll want to see that. Yeah, sorry guys. We'll just wait a couple of minutes here. But yeah, so I will try to amuse you with some awesome anecdotes and my awesome personality, which is fun. So I think I'm enforcing full social distancing measures now by distancing myself from the guest on my stream. That's alright. He's just rebooting, so hopefully he should be back in a minute. So yeah, until then, I can tell you about next week's stream. Next week we should have both Tia and Sonko on the stream. So we're going to have like an old school evening of looking at some Brood War and some Starcraft 2 games and discussing some of the Brood War fun that people have been having, and also looking at Tiersbot as well, which should be good. So we'll figure that out anyway. Just give me one moment. Just trying to get Chippy back on. Hopefully, should be soon. He says he's just rebooting his PC, so hopefully we should get him back on in a minute. But yeah, so next week we'll hopefully be looking at some Brood War stuff. I've been looking at the Schnail stuff, which is the Starcraft Human and AI League. As I think we have Chippy back. Hey, how's it going?
I'm back.
Ah, awesome.
Sorry about
Welcome back. No problem. I did pause the game for you. I don't know if we want to go back to it. I was just looking at like the so essentially I'm not sure if you want to load up the game again and watch it at the same time.
I'll just watch the rest on the stream.
Okay, so we've got a push with you going out, and basically your Zerglings just come along and take out all the tanks, and your Mutas are just there like to... So do you have any kind of like distancing with the Mutas between like the Marines and trying to stay out of their attack range or anything like that?
Yeah, so there's sort of a like basic attractor repulsor kind of calculation that goes on. So the mutas look at stuff that can attack them within a radius, and they also look at friendly units, and they kind of try and move away from the things that can attack them.
Yeah.
And also move away from a little bit from the other mutas to try and stay spread out a little bit.
Yeah. So what I think we were talking just before you cut out about like when you kind of lose a fight or anything like that, do you just wait to remax, or like kind of do you just go with across the map with all your army, and then like if that all dies you just remax again?
It goes basically if the attack fails, it waits until, generally tries to wait until it remaxes again. Yeah. Unless, like in this case, if it sees the enemy moving out, it may attack a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't see any like threatening units, then it'll try and just sort of retreat to its rally point until it's maxed up again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so essentially once it sees the push, it'll just go take out the push, come back, wait for it to remax, which I think is probably going to happen in this round.
Yep. Should be just another minute.
You've got a few mutas coming out. So
yeah, it does it based off of just the actual supply count, so it doesn't wait for those eggs to pop.
Yeah.
It just needs to get above 199 or get to 199.
Yeah, I guess how much food do the mutas take up? That's just 2, isn't it? So
yeah, mutas are 2, so it waits till 199 instead of specifically 200.
Yeah, so obviously doesn't get stuck.
So it doesn't get blocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that a couple of times with bots that have, you know. So it's only retreat logic in that, or where they go back to their base, or?
Yeah, so if they get below a certain percentage of health, I think it's like 20% health or something like that, they will go back to the rally point. Okay. And sometimes the queens will heal them if they have energy left, and then they can fly right back to the fight, or they'll just sit there and wait to heal up through regular regen.
Okay, so I think you've pretty much done the job here now. So I'm just going to fast forward this and watch your amazing muta micro here. This is it is a beautiful sight to behold, with so many mutas running around doing their own thing, I have to say.
So somebody asked in chat, why no Banes? I only build a couple of types of units, only Zerglings, mutas, and sometimes corruptors and queens. So that's one extra unit to have to figure out how to control properly. Also, I'm not really convinced that Banes are all that good in the bot versus bot because, like, I feel like AoE units are less valuable um, because it's a lot easier to split Marines or whatever to
Yeah,
counter Banes. So unless you're using them for like you know, trying to bust down static defenses, they seem a lot less valuable um,
yeah.
in bot versus bot.
I think you could probably go for like dropping the mineral lines as well. That might kind of work, but yeah,
Yeah.
it does seem a bit less effective. So yeah, I think that's kind of the last of the replays we wanted to go through. But yeah. So what's your plans for the future? How do you think you can best improve Perfect Split?
So I think the big thing is I need to improve scouting so that I can have more information to make better decisions. Once I have some more scouting information, then I can start making, different unit comp decisions based off of that, and be able to counter more situations. I think also that would help with attack timing rather than just always waiting until I max. I could see, oh, they're, particularly weak at this point. Maybe I should attack early, kind of stuff.
Yeah. So is there any plans to add more units into the comp, or is that?
Yes, I would definitely like to add some more, like particularly try out some Roach Hydra stuff, and maybe see how I can do with some specialty spellcasters and
Yeah,
things like that thrown in.
that would be cool. So yeah, I think that is pretty much everything we've got at the moment. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on and joining us. It's been a
Yeah,
real
thanks for
pleasure.
having me.
And like we've managed to unpick some of the enigma that is Perfect Split. Uh, no, it's a very well made bot, and like thank you for making the API as well. Hopefully, more people will get on and use that and improve it, which
Yeah.
would be really good. So yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you everyone for joining us. We should be back at the same time next week. Hopefully we're going to have Tia and Sonko on. Hopefully we'll be discussing a little bit of about Tia's bot and also a little bit about the Brood War AI and the Brood War scene. So that should be very interesting. All right, thank you everyone. Goodbye for now and see you next week.